Hello, FBC Salinas. This is Pastor John coming to you with another edition of the Midweek Refresher video, where I desire to do two things. Number one, provide you information, and trust me, there is some information you definitely need. And number two, provide you inspiration in the middle of the week, and trust me, all of us could use some inspiration. I hope you're doing well. What a great weekend we had celebrating Vision Sunday here, and then the dinner that followed that evening, laying out what we believe God's going to be doing in and through us in 2025. And that segues into this first announcement, which is the informational portion. I talked to you about these Get to Give campaigns, and I'm going to give you the dates. I'm simply going to throw them at you right now and then explain what's going to happen at those meals. So the Get to Give campaign is going to be focused on generosity and laying out some real numbers, laying out where we are as a church financially and things like that. The dates are these: February 10th and 11th. Those will be dinners here at the church at around 6 o'clock. Not around, they'll be at 6 o'clock. And then on the 17th and 18th are lunches at noon, again in the fireside room. And this is for those of you that are unable to join us in the evening. And then we will wrap them up on the 24th and the 25th at 6 p.m. Real quickly, it will be the same talk at every single one of these events. But what I need from you is you need to sign up. We're going to limit this to 12 to 15 people. And the idea of keeping it that small is so that you and I and the leadership, we can interact with one another. There's going to be a question and response time. I'll be laying out for you where we are financially as a church, as far as where the monies are going, what we're doing, how God's using your generosity. And for many people in the church, we don't understand what generosity is all about. And so I also want to use these meals as an opportunity to explain why generosity is so important. We have a generous God. On Sundays, we take the offering, which is known as generosity in action. I am a huge believer in generosity, and I try to live that out. I don't do that perfectly all the time, obviously. But at the same time, we have a generous God. And so what does it mean to be generous with the resources that God has provided? And so at these meals, and I'm calling them Get to Give, because so often I think we have this idea that we have to give. But when we realize we get to give, it changes the way we approach generosity. It changes the way we approach the resources that God has provided for us. And so please sign up for these meals. Those sign-ups are going to be available at the Welcome Center. You can also email the church at info@fbcsalinas.com, and we'll get you signed up that way. Again, it's going to be about 10 to 15 people at each meal. It's the same talk at every single one, the same interaction, the same discussion points, I should say, because it'll be different interaction, because there'll be different people there each time. But I'll be there on the 10th and 11th for dinner, on the 17th and 18th for lunch, and on the 24th and 25th for dinner as well. Please sign up as soon as possible, because I'm hoping and I believe that those spots will get full, and we will have a great time discussing generosity and what that means. All right, there's no cost to you, simply your time. 6 p.m. for the dinners, noon for the lunches. All right, so get signed up. If you have questions, email me, john@fbcsalinas.com. Be more than happy to answer those questions with you. All right, so that's it for the announcements. The next point is for the inspirational portion. The only reason why I use Facebook is to wish people happy birthday. And so yesterday, I wished a good friend of mine a happy birthday. He is a pastor of a church in the Detroit area. And he planted a church a number of years ago, and it's called Mercy Road Baptist. And just a great guy, and his name's Mike Gore. And anyway, I texted him, or I emailed him, and then also texted him, but also posted on his Facebook, saying, hey, keep up the good work. You're doing well. Happy birthday. Enjoy it to the fullest. And then he responded to me with a text that sort of caught me a little bit off guard. And he said this, he said, hey, keep up the good work as well, and let's finish well in ministry, this last season that we have in ministry. And all of a sudden, I'm thinking, wait a second. the last season. And then it hit me again. I'm not this young guy that I used to be. I'm not this, I'm closer to the finish line than I am at the start line, obviously. But when he said that, and he said those words, finish well, it really hit me. And I don't think I'm the only one in this congregation that wants to finish well. I think all of us want to finish well. And how does that happen? How do we finish well? And I've been thinking about this for quite a while. I've talked to the elders about it. As far as how does one finish well? I've talked to Dawn about it. I want to finish well. And now that the finish line, and by the way, I'm not planning on leaving, or whatever. I'm not, whatever. My point is, I'm 59. The finish line's a lot closer to as far as serving as a pastor. The finish line is a lot closer than it used to be. Still planning on being here a while. Still planning on being a pastor quite a while. But when he said that, it really caught me off guard. And God, I believe, has a sense of humor. I also believe that God hears us when we're saying, hey, what does it mean to finish well? And so I'm spending time, and I've worked my way through in my devotional time. Portion of that is spent reading a chapter of the Old Testament. And so the chapter I was in today was Deuteronomy 34, and I do not think this was a coincidence that I read these words today. It says this, verse 7 of Deuteronomy 34. Moses was 120 years old when he died, and here's the point. His eye was undimmed and his vigor unabated. I smiled as I read those words, and I said, Lord, that's finishing well. And I want to finish well. I want to invite you to finish well. And what hit me as I was reading about Moses, 120 years old, and it says, his eye was undimmed and his vigor was unabated. How did that happen? He walked with God. He walked with God. He kept pursuing after God. He kept interacting with God. And I want to encourage you, whether you're young, old, in between, whatever, I want to encourage you to, wherever you are, whatever the task is that's at hand right now for you, I want to encourage you to finish well. To finish well, to have the same vigor, to have the same focus on what God wants to do in your life and through your life. Because as we finish well, we're able to see God's faithfulness the entire way. So let's keep at it. And when that day comes, may we finish well and hear the words, well done, my good and faithful servant. I love you. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and let's keep on finishing well. God bless. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.